Aloha everyone, it's Rick here with goodincomestreams.com and the author of Invest Like the Rich. And on this video, we'll be talking about what is a tax lien and how it is a great investment. Now, according to Wikipedia, a tax lien is a lien imposed by law upon a property to secure the payment of taxes. A tax lien may be imposed for delinquent taxes owed on real property or personal property, or as a result of failure to pay income taxes or other taxes. Now, in the United States, a tax lien may be placed on a house or any other real property on which property tax is due, such as an empty tract or land, a boat dock, or even a parking place. Now, with this one, we'll be talking about tax liens on real estate or on your personal property. Now, each country may have varying rules and regulations, but we are talking specifically for the United States. Now, tax liens and tax deeds can be purchased by an investor. In the case of tax liens, a purchaser will earn interest on his money, on his or her money. This is done when the property is redeemed, and that certain investor will earn interest on his money. So that person will get his investment plus interest, and that can range anywhere from as low as 8% to as high as 25% per year. Now, these liens are generally in the first position, and it rules over any and all other liens, even mortgages and mechanics liens. Now, according to Wikipedia, the tax lien states are Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, Colorado, Florida, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Maryland, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, New Jersey, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, South Carolina, South Dakota, Vermont, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Now, the District of Columbia is also considered a tax lien jurisdiction. A tax lien may be called something else in a different state or county, but it's pretty much a certificate that allows the homeowner or the property owner time to pay their taxes back. So what do I mean by this? See, the property owner or that homeowner did not pay their current taxes or property taxes. Now, usually what happens is the county will put on a lien on that property, an encumbrance, saying that that homeowner has not paid for their taxes for that year. Now, what usually ends up happening is the county will auction off that certificate to investors to allow that property owner to continue living on that property while they raise money to pay off that taxes. So while that property owner is saving money to pay for that property tax, the local government or that county is getting money from that investor. In return, this government uses the money to pay for government subsidized programs for schools, the police, the fire station, pretty much anything that the government needs. So let me explain how this works. So first, the property owner fails to pay their property taxes on time. Then the county will issue a tax lien on that property, or in other words, it's an obligation for that property owner to pay its debt, which is in a form of a tax lien certificate. Now, that tax lien certificate is then purchased by an investor for the interest from 8% to as high as 25% per year. Then the property owner will pay off the property taxes with penalties and interest, and that investor that purchased that tax lien certificate will get their money back plus penalties and interest. Say, for example, that you're investing in Florida. Now, and that tax lien certificate was, let's just say $1,000. In Florida, it's an 18% or 1.5% per month, so 18% per year. Say the property owner takes a whole year. They pay on the 12th month after you purchase that tax lien certificate. So that $1,000, when you get your money back, or when it's redeemed, you will get your $1,000 back plus another $180 on top of that. Now, I know it doesn't sound like much, but we're talking about $1,000. And let's say it was a $100,000 tax lien, and it took a year for everything to redeem. Now, you're not talking small money. Now you're talking about $18,000. Yeah, $18,000 still doesn't sound like a lot, but try putting $100,000 in the bank, and you tell me how much you're going to get in interest after 1 year. Yes, you got that right. You made $100 in 1 year. Now, tax liens, you made $18,000 in that 1 year. That sure is a lot more money, right? Yeah, I know you could invest that in stocks, but then again, stocks is not always guaranteed. 1 year it can go up, and then the next it can go down. Now you might be asking, why is there tax liens? Well, tax liens is an essential part of the government. See, the government needs the tax money to pay for everyday expenses with our government. See, the government has a lot of people to pay.
So the government has a lot of people to pay. Anywhere, excuse me, I can't talk for some reason.
Now, the government has a lot of people to pay, from teachers to the police officers to the firemen, sometimes even for the roads. Property taxes pay for a lot of stuff. It just depends from state to state. So the state must impose some type of penalty for not paying your property taxes on time. And this becomes a lucrative business for investors. Now, I know what you're thinking, that these investors are taking advantage of people who are distressed, who are in financial trouble. But you got to look at it from a different perspective. If everybody stopped paying for their property taxes, who's going to pay the police officer? Who's going to pay the firefighters? Next thing you know, you have a fire at your house and the firemen will not show up because nobody's paying them. Why would they go to work, right? So the tax liens is very essential because it helps the local government continue to move, continue to operate on a daily basis. Now, if you're enjoying this video, please hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Now, the next question would be is, how can you make money? So, like I was explaining earlier, you can invest in states like Florida with 18%, or you can even go to Georgia for 20%, or even in Texas for 25%. Now, they might call it deeds, some call it liens. They're all the same. If you are earning interest on your money, then it's some type of lien. Now, if we continue with that $1,000 example that I had earlier, your money will earn $180, right, on the first year. But after 4 years, it pretty much doubles. So your $1,000 becomes $2,000. And that's not adding a single penny to it. So yeah, you could make more money in stocks, but then again, you can also lose more money in stocks because it's not always guaranteed. With tax liens, it's guaranteed. Now you must be wondering, what is the catch? Sounds way too good to be true. I hate to say this, but there is one catch. If the property owner does not pay their property taxes in time, they don't redeem that certificate or that tax lien certificate, you will be stuck with that property. Yes, I know that sounds really horrible.
There have been times when I got stuck with those real estate properties.
Sorry, I'm just joking, but yes, that is the drawback. If that property owner does not pay their property taxes in time, you can actually start foreclosure on that property. It's considered one of the more safer investments out there, is because it is backed by the real estate. And this is why I love this type of investment, because what better way to acquire properties? If you don't get your money back, guess what? You'll end up owning that property. Now, it's not going to be just that initial 1,000, because you're going to have to pay for the next year's taxes and then the following year's taxes and so on and so forth until it is caught up. But you're pretty much acquiring a property for pennies on the dollar. Now, I've acquired several properties from tax liens that became tax deeds for literally 8 to 10 cents on the dollar. So that means $100,000 property, I'm getting it for less than $10,000. Like that previous video that I was talking about, how I managed to acquire property for less than $1,400. Now, sure, that wasn't a $100,000 property. As a matter of fact, when I did acquire it, it was around $35,000 at that time. But now it's worth around $60,000 to $70,000 fixed up. But still, even at $35,000, that's still 4 cents on the dollar. That's only like 4% of its price. So what makes tax liens a safe investment? Now, usually the chances of a certificate not getting redeemed is anywhere from 3 to 5%. In other words, you have about a 97% chance that you are going to get your money back. But let's just say, for example, it's a $100,000 property. And let's just say that it's $1,000 every year to pay for property taxes. Now, that homeowner, for some reason, did not pay their taxes, so now they owe $1,000. As time goes on, the local government or that county will put it up for auction through a tax lien auction, right? That investor acquires that property or acquires that tax lien, correction, for $1,000. Now, sure, they're not going just because they want to get that property. As a matter of fact, they just want to get their money. And if they do get the property, that's usually just a bonus. So say, for example, that homeowner spent $100,000 on a property that is mortgage free. They don't owe anything. They're going to find a way to pay that $1,000 off, because it doesn't make sense. You're going to lose your property. You paid off your mortgage. You have $100,000 property, and you're going to lose it because of $1,000 in taxes. Even if it was $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, that's still little compared to that property that's worth $100,000. Maybe that homeowner will borrow money from family, maybe take out a loan or something, or maybe even try to sell the property. Now the next question would be is, what if that property has a mortgage on it? Let's just say, for example, that the mortgage does not include property taxes. They will most likely pay for that taxes, and then they will just charge that homeowner even more. In other words, when there's a mortgage, it's even better because there's a higher chance that you will get paid that principal plus interest. Now the next question would be is, how do you get these tax liens? Well, there's a number of ways to do this. Pretty much most of the United States still do live auctions. That is the number one way to acquire tax liens. And that's usually through bidding down of the interest, or sometimes they even pay a premium. So I can go on into more specifics on on the different types of auctions out there. Again, let's go back to Florida. Some people are willing to bid down to zero. Now you must be wondering, like, wait, what? Zero? Why would you take 0%? Well, depending on what county it is, see, Florida has a penalty of 5% no matter what. Even if that person pays the property taxes the next day after the auction, they still have to pay that 5% penalty. Now, that's not to say that you will always get that 5%, because some places, what they've been doing is, if you bid zero, you get 0% for that first year. However, why these professional investors do it is because they are banking that they are going to have first rights to purchase the lien for the following year. And when they purchase the lien for the following year, they're most likely going to get the full amount, which is 18% or whatever interest that county or that state offers. Now, if you enjoyed this video, could you please hit the like button and subscribe? Now, the second way that you can acquire tax lien is through online auctions. Now, online auctions can be a little bit tricky because you have a lot more competition, whereas to the live auctions is not as much, because it's just depending on how many people are in that room compared to pretty much anyone in the entire world can bid on it, not just the United States. So I know some people that are in Canada, in Hong Kong, even in Philippines, that bid on tax liens. There are a few states that do that. I know Colorado, Indiana, and Florida are the states that I heavily go into because they do have online auctions. However, there are other places that do online auctions as well. Now, this is a lot more convenient because you don't have to leave your home, which is something that I enjoy myself because I don't want to travel. I live in Hawaii. If I'm investing in tax liens in Colorado or even in Florida, it costs me way too much money to fly up there just for a few days plus hotel stay. And then, I would have to be bidding hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of tax liens just to make my trip worth it. I don't want to do that. So I'd like to do the online auction. Now, speaking of online, the third way that you can do things is called over-the-counter. So over-the-counter is one term that that tax lien investors use, but there are other names for it, right? Because it's pretty much a list of leftover tax liens that nobody bid at auction. Now, you must be thinking, oh, those are junk. Those are the ones that are picked over. Nobody wants those. Now, you'd be surprised on how many tax liens I've found with that over-the-counter list, with that leftovers. Yes, I've purchased quite a few tax liens through over-the-counter or the leftovers. Now, with the auctions, usually you're losing either money by paying for the premium, and the other way is you're bidding down the interest. So you could say 15 or 12 or 10 or 0, like I was explaining earlier. Now with the over-the-counter, it's locked in. The leftovers, so like say for example Florida, I don't have to go below 18%. I get to have all 18% for myself. So if they take a year to pay, I'm gonna get an entire 18%. If they take 6 months to pay, then I'll just get half of that, which is 9%, right? But it's pretty much 18% per year. I don't lose anything. I'm not giving up so many percent to the county, so I'm gonna get all of it. Yeah, it sounds like it's leftovers and those are the ones that nobody wanted. It's picked over, but you know what? If I don't have to fight over a certain property with other people and bid it down, and now my goal is anything below 12% is not worth it for me. I want to see at least 12% or higher on return on my money, because anything less than that to me is just a waste of my time. Now I know what you must be thinking. Oh, we're horrible because we're taking advantage of someone that is going through some financial trouble, right? If that property owner doesn't pay those taxes, then they can lose their property through foreclosure. Well, have you ever thought about other lenders? So with tax liens, the investor is acting as a lender, right? He's putting up the money to help that property owner stay in their property for a year, 2 years, 3 years, depending on the state, depending on their laws. They get to stay there an extra few years while they try to come up with all the funds, right? Yeah, it might sound high, but look at it this way. Credit card companies, guess what? They will hit your credit report and they will try to do whatever they can to get some of their money back, right? And how much do they charge in interest? 20-something%. I mean, I know they have some lower interest rates, but for the most part, it's usually around 20%. Now, how about if you made an auto loan? Guess what? That car is going to get repossessed if you miss a couple months of payments. 2-3 months usually, they will come down and they just repossess. They just take that car away from you. Now, the mortgage, what banks do is if you miss around 3 payments, so if you miss like 3 months of mortgage payments, what they normally do is they will start foreclosure process. I mean, sometimes it's longer, but pretty much banks will try and start the foreclosure process if you miss a few months of your mortgages. Whereas to a tax lien investor, what you do is you're giving that property owner 1, 2, 3, 5 years, depending on the state. You're giving them that much time for them to pay you back. Now, granted, you are using their real estate as collateral, but then again, pretty much all the lenders have some type of collateral. Maybe not credit cards, because they're just gonna go after your credit report, but think about auto loans or mortgages. You have some type of collateral. Now remember, the rules are set up by the state. They created these laws to give these property owners so much time. And let's just say you feel bad for that property owner and they haven't paid you. Let's just say it's supposed to be 2 years and the 2 years is up and you want to give them an extension. Well, guess what? You can't, because the state requires you to start that foreclosure process. Now there's other things that has to happen, and I'm oversimplifying this, of course, but for the most part, the state for that, the government or the laws for that state will give you the guidelines on how long those property owners have to pay you back. As a matter of fact, most of these property owners don't even know that a tax lien that is attached to their property has been sold to an investor. The best part is the county does all the collections for you. They will send out all the notices, all the late fees, and all that good stuff. And you don't have to lift a finger. All you do is just wait for your money to come in. All they want is for you to pay for those tax liens and they will do the rest. Now you must be thinking, if tax liens is such a great investment, why haven't I heard about it? Or why is it that my broker does not talk about it? Well, the short answer is brokers can't make any money off of tax lien certificates. It is pretty much against the law for them to charge any commission for selling you a tax lien certificate. Now you must be getting excited and you're thinking, how should I get started in investing in tax liens? Well, that's a great question. Now, if you're enjoying this video, please hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe because I'll be making more videos in regards to tax liens and tax deeds and even other ways of acquiring real estate. Now, I want to say mahalo for watching this video, and remember to always strive for financial independence. And until next time, aloha!